So Thom, you go and travel around the world to look at producers and prospectors. What sorts of insights can you share with our audience here?
Now, I mean, if you're looking for an exploration play that could become a discovery, things are really cheap. We're talking deep value here. It's almost like at the orphan stage, you know, like I'm going to find an orphan because it's been so neglected. There are maybe 10 of these exploration companies across the world whose stocks are actually still thriving. That's how tough it's been the last 3 weeks and 3 months. The things I like right now, and they're hanging in there. Golden Predator, I was just with those folks up in the Yukon, and Golden Predator trades in Canada and in the USA, and they have the 3 Aces project, very high grade gold. I own it, of course. It's one of the very few places in the world where you can go and scrape up, like from an outcrop, and practically scrape up gold. So their numbers have been great, and Janet and Bill Sheriff and Mike Berkey and those folks have done a good job of keeping the news flow honest, with integrity, and not too much dilution for shareholders.
Right.
Another one that is high-grade gold, and it's in the United States of America, and I've followed these folks for a long time, is New Range Gold, and I was just there at their project outside actually right in the town of Hawthorne, Nevada. Hawthorne is like an old, the world's largest military depot for decommissioned ammo. Bob and Gloria Carrington at New Range Gold, which used to be Colombian Mines in Colombia, before everybody started, you know, screaming and yelling how Colombia was a disaster and ran out of there because they didn't want to be invested. They changed their name to New Range Gold, and actually Bob Carrington, who's a longtime Nevada geologist, has found what looks like good, solid gold that is at the site of a previous mine, a historic mine.
Right.
So that one's holding in there. You have Golden Predator, its shares are holding in there, but still 25% below where they were. New Range, same thing. You get it 25% cheaper right now.
Right.
And they're still very active on exploration. You know, and as you know, some of the other types of companies out there, like prospect generators or royalty companies, are not doing as well because people are kind of getting bored. There are, as my friend Dana Samuelson says from American Gold Exchange, right now, people, especially younger folks, there's a lot of competition against the bullion stocks. What are they? Bitcoin, the Ethereum, the US stock market, the Canadian stock market, like blue chips.
Right.
Everything now is competing against gold, and right now gold and some of the other metals are losing.
Of course, and you know, it is a fact, and one of the key discussions here at New Orleans Investment Conference is that mining ore is completely on the decline, and companies are in trouble. So how can investors be well prepared for this and find alternatives?
So Rachel, good question. Let's say you believe in deep value, like you're not a momentum investor. You're not somebody who needs to get on board a rising ship. Well, there are probably 100 great choices just in the North American equity markets for gold and other metal exploration stocks that explore around the world. You have to remember your country, Canada, and it's the way it finances companies and the way it educates geologists and executives is a layup for the mining industry. That's why you have so many companies based or raising money in Canada. Australia's the same way, South Africa as well. You know, as investors, if you believe you can get something cheap and it's not going to get cheaper, which is always the risk. Right. It's a good time. I think that I like EMX Royalty. It's about a $60 million market cap. Once again, it's down 35%, and they get royalties. It's on sale. Yeah. It's a bargain. I own it. And I know those folks, they're based in Denver, but they have properties around the world. And then let me just mention uranium. I only own 2 uranium companies, and one of them is Canalaska. So I tend to own small companies, right, Rachel? And Canalaska has a lot of projects that it either owns 100% of or tries to vend to other companies. So it is, in one way, an exploration company, but in another way, a project generator. And in the Athabasca Basin has been the big place for high-grade uranium. They also own diamonds, or diamond projects, I should say, and a few other things here and there in the Athabasca Basin. Manitoba, Saskatchewan. Uranium has been destroyed after Fukushima in Tokyo, so we're in like year 3 or 4 of like deadly low uranium prices, and everything's getting crushed. I mean, I made a lot of money on Canalaska. Luckily, I sold some of it and took the money and held on to it a year and a half ago. And now it's back down to 23 cents Canadian or 25 cents Canadian. But the share count is so low. I mean, fewer than 30 million shares outstanding. So if we see anything happen on uranium, or we see a discovery with some of their projects that they partner with large companies, you know, Canalaska is fascinating.
Really good. Now, lastly, I want to move away from resources and talk about biotech. I understand that you have some interest there, so share with us the company quickly for us.
Well, in the old days, like in the 90s and early 2000s, the fact that I co-founded MarketWatch, and we did a lot of broadcast and internet content for audiences that were interested in technology, I got into biomedical starting in the mid or late 90s. One of the companies I did well on was Illumina, which became the genomics leader in Carlsbad/La Jolla. Right now, there's a company in Halifax that's been at immunological research for 10 or 12 years. I think it's about to go on NASDAQ. We haven't seen an announcement yet from the company. It's called Immunovaccine. That's one of my 3 largest positions. Immunovaccine is doing great work for ovarian cancer, which is a terrible cancer. It's doing work on syncytial viruses, infectious disease. It's got a range of phase 2 and phase 3 trials that it's doing with a very novel way of delivering these antigens, and it's Survivin or Survivac compound. It uses oil, and the oil keeps these compounds in your body longer. They're showing a lot of success. We're very hopeful about the trials. It's about $140 million market cap, Canadian, I believe. And you know, if it goes on NASDAQ, everything that's on NASDAQ that's similar is trading at 5 to 10 times their price.
Right.
So I love that one.
Great. Well, Thom, thank you so much for your insights with us today.
It's been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.